Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Peter and this will be the 13th article in the series about the swimming rules. There's a lot of fine print that I've written in this one, so I'm hoping I can explain it sensibly. Two subjects here. The first one's fairly short, about the one start rule, and then the next one is about the costume regulations, and it's quite lengthy. And you might wonder what would be common to these two subjects. Well, as I've written here, in both cases it was the dills who ruined it for everyone. And in this context, when I say dills, I mean people who just know that they are clever but are actually quite stupid. Now, the one start rule, there was a time when 2 false starts were allowed, and I'll just read what I've written here, but that was intentionally exploited as a disrupting tactic by aggressive swimmers, ambitious parents and unscrupulous coaches. So to eradicate all the nonsense, the one start rule was adopted, and that means that anyone overbalancing at the start is dismissed from the event, and anyone moving forward before the start signal is disqualified at the end of the race. Do not expect allowance for anything accidental. Now, it is pretty harsh. Disqualifications resulting from this one and only start may appear harsh, but like most things in this world, there was a choice between something bad and something worse. Now, the only cases that I see of people being dismissed from going into the water before the start has always been accidental. They've just lost their balance. And you know what it's like if you've been dragged out of bed at 4 o'clock in the morning and then you spent a couple of hours in the car getting to wherever the swim meet is, and you spend the day sitting under a tent to do 4 races. Well, at some point there you can be forgiven for not being real sharp when you stand up on the block. But that's what we've got. Now to those costume regulations, going back in time again, look, there was a time when the costume regulations were concerned with nothing more than issues of modesty. I cannot remember any cases in which that needed to be invoked. But then the clever people got too clever and they contravened 2 of the fundamental rules of competitive swimming. In fact, it's just the one rule where it says that there is to be no aid to flotation, propulsion or endurance. That's the rule. So let's have a look at endurance. And somehow they got the idea that compressing the muscles would slow the movement of lactate. This is all highly technical. And that would, in theory, provide a swimmer with more endurance. So what they did was, to compress the muscles, they would wear 2 tight costumes. So the lawmakers responded to this by decreeing there was to be 1 costume only. But unfortunately, swimmers who had underwear because they're going through a self-conscious phase, or who wear a shirt, also get caught in the net, even though it confers no performance advantage. Sorry. Then we look at flotation. Now, intentionally or not, here's an example. If you think back, there was a time when those girls' cat suits were quite popular, but those chunky plastic zips were found to float. And the closed-in back would also trap a big bubble of air. So there are your flotation problems. And some of those inner linings, some non-textile inner linings, were found to float. So now's right here. Now basically the only costumes allowed are included on an extensive list of more than 1,500 items. Any that you buy from the pool shop should be okay. but generally not fashion swimwear. They won't be on the list, and some of them would contravene the rules. The rules are that the boy's costume can extend from the navel to the knee, and the girl's costume is to be of open back design and may extend from the shoulder to the knee. The regulations have arisen from the rules, but you'll find if you report to marshalling, the marshals won't be looking at whether something you've got on will float or is too tight or any of that. Really all they're doing, they will want to look at the manufacturer's label and checking whether that is on this big list. Now, I've never seen the list and I've never seen anyone refer to one, but I'm sure if you go to high-level swim meets, that's the sort of thing that you'll need to conform with. Here are some images of some examples. The obvious problem with this one is the closed back design. This one has a closed back and long sleeves. This one appears to be within the rules, but as fashion swimwear would probably not be on the list of approved costumes for competition. Now, this is in the rules. Apart from the costume, explained above, caps and goggles are permitted, but nothing else. So, consequently, such things as jewellery, strapping and taping are prohibited. Now, you need to think about that because a lot of these things that you wear all the time become part of your self-image, and you might not even realise that the rules don't allow for them. So, jewellery, things like rings, bracelets, earrings, necklaces of any sort, you should not be racing with those on. Leave them with the coach or your parents under the tent while you're racing. Ankle bracelets become popular in the last number of years. Girls wearing ankle bracelets. Under the rules, they're not allowed. Take them off. You know, they may be of highly symbolic importance to you, but you should not be allowed to race with them on. In particular, you're not to wear a watch, and a special case of those is you can buy watches now for other sports which are specifically intended to help you with your pacing. Now, another rule, I've only just remembered that this is there, states something to the effect that there is to be no system of pacing adopted. That is, whether it's you checking your time as you go through, or whether it's someone alongside the pool, ringing a bell or shouting out or whistling, you know, to help you to get your pace right. It's outside the rules, it's in the rule book. You know, how many times do you see the coach? It's just, they can't help it. You see them there with the swimmers swimming along, and they're there with their program, and they're going like this. Technically, that's a coaching instruction. That means speed up. There's to be no coaching assistance while you are racing. In fact, coaching advice should cease once you've reported for marshalling. I got off the track there. Where was I? So just reading on. Weightlifters and tennis players can compete all strapped up, but not swimmers. Basically, you compete unaided, just how you are, whether you're injured or not. The costume is merely there for the sake of modesty. The referee may permit taping of a wound, provided it confers no advantage. But technically, strapping or taping of sprains and strains should not really be allowed, but the rule reads unauthorised strapping. Apparently around here I've seen it, as long as you take it and show it to the referee can approve it. My question would be why have you got it on at all? Is that going to help you to do better than if you didn't have it on? And the answer would normally be yes. I don't think they should have it, but the convention around here is that referees are allowing it as long as you go and show it to them, and they have satisfied themselves that it's not presumably a blatant attempt to aid your flotation, propulsion or endurance. So, just at the end here, I've written, on club nights some of these restrictions might be overlooked in the interests of promoting participation. But in bold letters, please realise that they are enforceable in competition. You will almost certainly be disqualified if you contravene any of these rules. And I think we've got through that one. Only a couple more to go. So thanks for watching, everyone, and see you in the next one.